What is going on, everybody? In this video, I'm going to be going through my updated 12-team playoff bracket heading into week 12. I'm going to predict the whole bracket and give my prediction for who wins the 2025 National Championship. But before we do that, let's look at the 12 teams that I have making the playoffs right now. And as the 1 seed, I do have the Oregon Ducks. I think it's very likely that this team will win out, and I think they will be able to beat Ohio State again. As long as they can stay healthy for that game, they should be able to beat Ohio State twice. And as my 2 seed, I have the Texas Longhorns winning the SEC. The SEC is so wide open, I could see 4 or 5 teams winning the SEC. But Texas only has one loss, and I would say they are the favorite right now. It's looking like Georgia will not make the SEC championship game, and I don't know if anybody else in the SEC can beat Texas. So this could definitely change, but right now I have Texas as my 2 seed. And as my 3 seed, I have Miami winning the ACC. I understand that they recently lost to Georgia Tech, but I still think they will win out and win the ACC. I can't really trust any team in the ACC more than I can Miami, so give me Miami to win the ACC. I think they have one of the top offenses in the country. And as my 4 seed, this might be a surprise to some people, but I have Colorado winning the Big 12. Look, I understand a lot of people might be rolling with BYU to win the Big 12, but I think Colorado has honestly looked much more impressive lately. They've been beating teams by double digits, and they've been running the ball a lot better as well, and they have one of the most improved defenses in the country. Colorado will probably win out and go 10-2, and I think they could beat BYU in the Big 12 championship game. So give me Colorado as the 4 seed. And now we move on to the at-large bids. I have Ohio State at 5. I think Ohio State will be the highest ranked non-conference champion. I think Ohio State will be above any other SEC team. I think their only 2 losses will be to the number 1 team in the country, so I think Ohio State will get the 5 seed. As the 6 seed, I have Tennessee. I think they will make the SEC championship game but lose to Texas. I think Tennessee will get by Georgia and beat them this Saturday, and I think they will finish 11-2 with a loss to Texas in the SEC championship game. And I have Ohio State ahead of them because Ohio State would have a better resume, and their only loss would be to the number 1 team in the country twice. But Tennessee is definitely good enough to get the 6th seed. They've been running the ball super well. Ika Imaliava continues to get better, and the defense is one of the best in the country. As the 7th seed, I have Penn State. I think they will go 11-1, but I don't see them making the Big Ten championship game. At default, an 11-1 Penn State team will likely get a high seed in the college football playoffs over a 2-loss SEC team. So I have Penn State as the 7th seed. And right behind them, I have another 1-loss team. I have Notre Dame as the 8th seed. I think Notre Dame could be one of the more slept-on teams in the country right now. A lot of people don't take them seriously because they're lost to Northern Illinois, but I think this is a very well-balanced football team right now. The defense has been extremely dominant, and they just scored 52 against Florida State last weekend. Riley Leonard has stepped up big time for this team, and they run the ball super well, so I have Notre Dame as the 8th seed. And as the 9th seed, I have another 1-loss team. I think Indiana will go 11-1 with their only loss to Ohio State. And I don't see an 11-1 Big Ten team getting left out of the college football playoffs, so give me Indiana at the 9th seed. In these next 2 spots, I think they are going to go to 2-loss SEC teams, and I think Alabama will go 10-2, and I think they will get the 10 seed. There's really nobody left on the schedule that can really beat Alabama. Maybe they slip up at Oklahoma, but Alabama is just a much more talented team. So I think it's very safe to assume Alabama will win out, and maybe they even make the SEC championship game. But I do have them missing out on the SEC championship game. Regardless, they should be in the college football playoffs. And as my last at-large bid, I have 11 seed Ole Miss. I know they had that bad loss to Kentucky, and they did lose to LSU. Both of those losses are not aging super well, but they also have the big win over Georgia, and they've been playing like one of the top teams in the country. So I definitely have to give Ole Miss the 11th seed. And as my group of 5 team and the final team in this thing, I think Boise State is going to win the Mountain West and be the highest ranked G5 champion. Boise State's only loss comes to the number 1 team in the country, and as long as they win their conference, they should be a lock for this thing. Now, some of you may be wondering, where is a team like BYU, or where is Georgia, or where is SMU? First of all, I think BYU is going to lose 1 game in the regular season and lose to Colorado, so I don't see them being in this thing. And I also don't see SMU beating Miami in the ACC championship game. I think Miami will fix their problems, and I think they will win the ACC, and I think SMU will miss out on the college football playoffs. And for Georgia, it's pretty simple. I said I had them losing to Tennessee, and a 3-loss SEC team should not get in the college football playoffs. So I also think Georgia will miss out on this thing. But let's move on to actually predicting these games, and let's start off in the first round with the 5 seed Ohio State and the 12 seed Boise State. I think Ohio State is the much better football team in this game. They have the defense to contain Ashton Jeanty, and this game should be a blowout. So give me Ohio State. The next game is the 6 seed Tennessee versus the 11 seed Ole Miss. This would be a very interesting game. Tennessee and Ole Miss did not play in the regular season, but Tennessee hosting a playoff game would be incredible. Look, I think Tennessee and Ole Miss are two very similar teams, but I'm honestly going to go with the home team and the Tennessee Volunteers. They are a very hard team to beat on the road. And I think by the time we get to the postseason, the offense is going to be a lot better. And Tennessee has had one of the best defenses in the country, so give me Tennessee to beat Ole Miss in a close game. The next game is the 7 seed Penn State hosting number 10 Alabama. This is one of those games where a team from the South will have to travel up north to maybe play in a snow game. So this might be a very interesting game. Alabama is going to have to face some adversity playing on the road at Penn State. But honestly, I can just trust this Alabama offense more than I can Penn State, and I can trust Kalen DeBoer more. So give me Alabama to beat Penn State. I wouldn't be surprised if Alabama won this game by multiple scores. And what about this game? We have the 8 seed Notre Dame versus 9 seed Indiana. I think this could be a very even matchup. But I don't think Indiana has played a defense like Notre Dame's all year. Obviously, they played Michigan and they struggled in that game. They still have to play Ohio State, so we'll see how good Indiana is. But on the road against Notre Dame in the postseason is going to be a very tough test for Indiana, and I really trust this Notre Dame team at home. So give me Notre Dame to win that football game. And now we move on to the quarterfinal games and the New Year's Six bowl games. We have number 1 Oregon versus number 8 Notre Dame. I think this could be an interesting matchup for Oregon. Maybe Notre Dame is a very good football team and people aren't taking them seriously. And I could see Notre Dame making it far in the postseason, but playing Oregon in the second round will be a very tough matchup for them. Overall, I think Oregon has the talent advantage, so give me Oregon in this game, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was closer than expected. The next game is the 2 seed Texas versus 10 seed Alabama. This will be my first meeting on the season for these two teams, and this actually might just be a game of the two best teams in the SEC. It's really hard to say, there's so much parity in the SEC, but in the postseason, we have seen Kalen DeBoer beat Steve Sarkisian before, and I think Alabama is going to be playing their best football in the postseason. They looked very good in that win over LSU, and as long as they can use Jalen Milroe's skill sets, I think Alabama can win this game over Texas. So give me Alabama in this game. The next game is number 3 Miami versus number 6 Tennessee. I think this could be a very fun game. Maybe this is a game of the best offense in the country versus the best defense in the country. I've talked about how Miami is only going to lose a game if they play an elite defense, but obviously they just lost to Georgia Tech. Maybe Miami's offense is not as good as we think it is, but in the postseason, I think Miami's offense is going to be clicking on all cylinders. But personally, I think Tennessee has one of the best defenses in the country, and I think they can contain that Miami offense. I'm trusting Tennessee's defense over Miami's offense, and I like Tennessee to win a close game. In the last game of the quarterfinals is 4 seed Colorado versus 5 seed Ohio State. Colorado, you've made it far, but this is going to be a mismatch for you. Ohio State is going to win this game by at least 20. Colorado is a good football team, and they are much better than last year, but they also play in a weak Big 12 conference, and Ohio State might have the best defense in the country. And we saw how Colorado did when they played a good team at the line of scrimmage in the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Obviously, Colorado has been a better team since then, but this is a mismatch for Colorado. Ohio State will win this game big. And now we move on to the semifinals. We have 1 seed Oregon playing 5 seed Ohio State for the third time. Look, it feels weird picking Oregon to beat Ohio State 3 times, but I really think Oregon can beat them 3 times. Oregon has looked like the most complete team in the country. Oregon didn't even play their best game against Ohio State. They had some errors in that game, and they also didn't have their best defensive player in Jordan Burch. And I really think I can trust that Oregon coaching staff over Ohio State, and I trust Oregon to beat Ohio State 3 times. I know it sounds crazy, but I'm taking Oregon to beat Ohio State again. And now we have 6 seed Tennessee versus 10 seed Alabama. Now this game would also be a rematch, but I think Alabama can beat Tennessee if they play again in the postseason. I think Alabama is starting to click and they are finding themselves at the right time, and Jalen Milroe needs to be an X factor in this game. I think Alabama has what it takes to win this game. Kalen DeBoer has been in the big stages before. So give me Alabama to beat Tennessee this time around and move on to the national title. And now we have 1 seed Oregon playing 10 seed Alabama in the national championship. That would be a very interesting story if a 10 seed went all the way. But I really think that is possible because there's going to be so many good teams in this thing. And wouldn't this be a story? Dale Lanning and Kalen DeBoer have to play once again. And Dale Lanning is 0-3 against Kalen DeBoer. He has not been able to beat Kalen DeBoer in his coaching career. Kalen DeBoer kept Oregon from making the college football playoffs again, and Kalen DeBoer could be the reason Oregon misses out on winning their first national championship. But personally, I think this is the year the Oregon Ducks get it done. They've been the most complete team in the country on both sides of the ball. So give me Oregon to beat Alabama in a shootout, and I think Oregon will win the 2025 national championship. But anyways, that is going to do it for this video. Let me remind you guys to like the video and also subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. And if you guys love college football, then you'll love this channel because we upload a ton of college football content and we basically cover everything on this channel. So definitely consider subscribing and also consider checking out my socials down in the description below. But that is going to do it, guys, and peace out.